Your birth certificate tells you how many times you've traveled around the sun. It's a nice, neat little number meant for DMV clerks and insurance adjusters. But your cells, they're running a completely different ledger. As mainstream medicine finally starts dragging its feet out of the dark ages, the conversation is shifting from lifespan, how long you can linger in a hospital bed hooked up to machines, to healthspan, how long you can actually live like a vibrant human being. In 2026, the tool of choice for tracking this is the biological age test. Predictably, the medical industrial complex has turned this into a corporate circus, flooding the market with useless cheek swabs and expensive spit tubes that tell you absolutely nothing actionable. If you want to actually measure your rate of decay and fix the root causes of aging, you have to look past the marketing gloss and evaluate your biology through a comprehensive progressive lens, the 5Ms framework. If you're going to bother testing at all, don't waste your time with basic outdated blood panels that your conventional doctor uses to declare you normal right before you drop dead of a preventable chronic disease. Standard reference ranges are designed to tell you if you're average compared to a sick sedentary population. We don't want to be average. The undisputed heavyweight in biological age testing remains next-generation epigenetics, how it works. This method bypasses the superficial noise and analyzes hundreds of thousands of DNA methylation sites, chemical tags on your DNA that switch specific genes on or off. Why it's the only option worth your time. The latest algorithms don't just hand you a static, depressing birthday number. They measure your current pace of aging. Think of it as a molecular speedometer. It reveals exactly how fast your biological clock is ticking right now. Conventional medicine loves to tell you that your genes are a fixed destination, mostly so they can sell you a lifetime supply of symptom-masking pills when things go wrong. Epigenetics completely shatters that fatalistic myth. Your DNA is a script, but your lifestyle writes the stage directions. If your epigenetic clock shows you're aging at an accelerated rate, it's a direct warning that your cellular foundations are crumbling. Before we dive into the specifics, let's cut through the jargon. What exactly are the 5Ms? The 5Ms framework is not some arbitrary collection of buzzwords cooked up by a marketing department. It represents the 5 foundational, interconnected cellular physiological pillars that dictate your actual rate of physical decay. When an epigenetic clock tells you that you're aging too fast, it isn't guessing. It is reading the collective damage across these 5 critical systems. Think of them as the functional architecture of your youth. If even one of these pillars cracks, the entire biological structure begins to collapse, regardless of what your birth certificate says. Here's what the clocks are trying to measure under the hood, but don't completely cover them all. 1. Microvascular health, the delivery network. You're only as young as your smallest blood vessels. Microvascular health dictates the integrity of your capillaries, the microscopic highway system responsible for delivering oxygen and nutrients to your tissues while clearing out metabolic garbage. Conventional cardiology is obsessed with plumbing the large arteries only after they're already clogged, completely ignoring the capillary bed where the real damage starts. If your microvascular network degrades, your tissues starve. Optimizing endothelial function and maximizing nitric oxide production is non-negotiable if you want to keep the cellular transit system wide open. The best way to assess this is with the glyco-check test to provide your microvascular health score. We were one of the first 100 clinics in the country to get one of these. 2. Mitochondrial efficiency, the power plants. Mitochondria are the cellular engines producing ATP, the fundamental energy currency of life. When these power plants go offline, you don't just feel tired, your cells lose the energy required to repair themselves, inviting systemic decay and chronic disease. The medical establishment loves to treat mitochondrial dysfunction with synthetic energy stimulants. The progressive approach: stop poisoning them with environmental toxins, feed them the essential cofactors they actually need, and force them to adapt through targeted physical stressors. There are some tests for them, like the Aristotle test and the organic acids test, and they can be helpful, although a bit pricey. A simple and reliable way to rate your mitochondrial health is to compare your current energy levels to those when you had the most energy and felt great. 3. Metabolic balance, the daily equilibrium. Metabolic balance is your body's ability to process and allocate energy day to day without throwing a biological temper tantrum. It means pristine insulin sensitivity, stable blood sugar, and a balanced lipid profile. The conventional model waits until your fasting glucose crosses an arbitrary line before diagnosing you with a disease they can conveniently medicate forever. Real prevention means looking at early markers of cellular friction, like fasting insulin and glycation metrics, long before the corporate medical guidelines say you're allowed to care. 4. Metabolic reserve, the buffer system. If metabolic balance is your daily checking account, metabolic reserve is your emergency trust fund. It's your physiological resilience, the capacity of your muscles, organs, and neuroendocrine systems to withstand unexpected trauma, whether that's an intense workout, a severe illness, or a toxic week of sleep deprivation. Your primary shield here is high-quality functional skeletal muscle mass. Muscle isn't just for vanity, it's an endocrine organ and your primary glucose sink. If you don't aggressively build a physical buffer against sarcopenia, you are volunteering for accelerated aging. To assess this, all you need to do is test your strength against how strong you were when you were at your strongest. Obviously, if you were never very strong and did not participate in any strength-related activities, then you can pretty much guarantee that your metabolic reserves are quite low. 5. Membrane health, the cellular shields. Every single cell in your body is encased in a delicate lipid bilayer membrane. The fluidity and structural integrity of this membrane control everything. How well hormones bind to receptors, how how efficiently nutrients get in, and how robustly toxins are kept out. A stiff, damaged membrane turns a cell into a fortress that can't receive supplies. True cellular repair requires ignoring the outdated low-fat dogma pushed by corporate-funded nutritional guidelines and actively consuming the high-quality fatty acid profiles needed to keep your cellular shields flexible and resilient. One of the best ways to assess this is by a blood EFA ratio test. Biological age tests simply don't do a good job of evaluating the 5Ms. They mainly look at downstream damage. The absolute biggest mistake you can make after receiving your epigenetic data is taking it to a traditional physician whose entire worldview is dictated by standard insurance billing codes. Epigenetic data refers to how your genes have been influenced by your environment. Regular doctors will look at your advanced metrics, blink blankly, and tell you there is nothing to prescribe because you don't technically have a disease yet. The conventional medical industrial complex thrives on a neat linear assembly line. Wait for a system to break entirely, label it, and manage the decline. To reverse the trend on your diagnostic dashboard, you must abandon the idea of a passive, centralized treatment protocol. The 5Ms do not operate in silos. They form a web. Forcing your mitochondria to optimize through advanced oxygen therapies like EWOT, progressive resistance training, and deliberate thermal stress like saunas and cold exposure all work to stress your system to adapt and get stronger. Their effects aren't instant, but they will move the needle when done consistently. They will strengthen your system, thereby relieving strain on your metabolic balance, which in turn preserves your microvascular network and mitochondrial health. You cannot medicate your way out of a poor rate of aging with a handful of synthetic longevity supplements while your cell membranes remain suffocated by rancid industrial seed oils and chronic stress. True age reversal requires targeted, decentralized intervention, treating your body as an integrated fluid ecosystem rather than a collection of independent parts waiting for a pharmaceutical patch. A next-generation epigenetic test isn't a crystal ball to tell you when the ride ends. It's a diagnostic dashboard. The conventional medical industrial complex wants you to believe aging is an inevitable, medicated slide down a steep hill. It isn't. By using advanced testing to audit the 5Ms, you get the hard data required to fire your traditional doctor, fix the root causes of decay, and aggressively take control of your own biology. If you'd like guidance and coaching on assessing and optimizing your 5Ms, overall health, and health span, reach out to us and schedule a consultation. Telehealth available. We use nutrition, peptides, hormones, exercise, and a variety of progressive therapies to help you lower your biological age. Call 9418-065-511 or email us at info@rtc.health.